You think your problem is motivation, discipline, you don't know what to do, but your problem is actually your nervous system being stuck in survival mode. Welcome back to my channel, Self-Love Lexi. Okay, I have had to learn so much about being in survival mode because I was constantly in survival mode. It would actually help me learn to get out of survival mode was learning about feminine energy, because I was always in my masculine all the time. If you don't know what being your masculine and feminine energy is, just a quick breakdown. They're completely different energies, but every single person possesses both. The masculine is the structure, the logic, the hard work, right? Whereas the feminine is the creativity, the flow, the receiving. So I'm just gonna put my hair up, but y'all, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I have like curly hair. This is also my hair. I never put any products on my hair ever. This is just brushed out. Isn't that so cool how my hair is like that? But I might not put it up actually. Today I'm trying something different. A lot of my videos, I edit them a lot, but I just kind of want to go with the flow of this one, so that's what we're gonna do. I have some notes just because the nervous system is a huge thing to go over. So yeah, you think your problem is motivation and consistency, but your problem is actually a dysregulated nervous system. When my nervous system was dysregulated, I was late for everything. I spoke very quickly all of the time. I could never have like funny interactions and conversations because I was always focused on what the other person thought of me. Today I went on this good long walk. It's so nice outside. I have to go on this walk. And I noticed that whenever I was worried or thinking about somebody else perceiving me, I walked differently. I would stumble. But when I was like truly just in the present moment in my body, I was walking fine. So it was only when I thought I was being perceived by somebody else that I started acting weirdly. And I noticed this just with life in general. Whenever I'm worried about somebody else judging me, I say silly things. I do things out of character just because I'm so in my head. But when I'm actually in my body and just able to live and function as a normal freaking human, it flows. And a lot of your feminine energy, it's like this flirtatious, playful energy when you're in the present moment. Because how can you like come back with like an intelligent kind of giddy, funny joke if you're constantly thinking about what everyone else thinks of you? You can't do that. I remember when I was always in survival mode, I would also like have this huge guard up for life. Nothing could ever be too good because then I would be bad again. No one could give me anything because I think I had to owe them in return. I was, again, always late for everything. I was always hustling. I couldn't rest. I literally felt so guilty anytime I rested. Even my meditation was the sole purpose of productivity. Everything I did had to be because it would elevate my life in some way, even to the point of meditation. Whereas now I have those moments of like productivity where I can just go. But a lot of my life now is I get to live in pleasure. And I think the importance is creating that balance between the structure and the flow, the pleasure and the productivity. So yeah, when I was really stuck in survival mode, I was in my masculine, I was constantly going. One thing I noticed with my mom also, who's always in her survival mode and the masculine energy, she eats very quickly. It's like she thinks her food's gonna run away. But that's not just something I've noticed in her. I've noticed it in myself. I've noticed it in everyone around me, or even like coffee in the morning or water, like gulping it down. Every time you do something and it's like super quickly, you are most likely in survival mode. So that is something I had to learn as well, is just slowing down a little bit. For me, this looked like slowing down my walking, slowing down my eating, slowing down my talking. I used to have such bad people-pleasing skills, but I also was super socially awkward. I was very, very anxious. I had a lot of anxiety. And so I would get into group settings and I'd be so riled up. People would think, oh, she's so bubbly, or I'd like completely shut down. It was truly because my nervous system was not at rest. I was hyper anxious and it came out in being super bubbly or like completely introverted. So I noticed a switch just by talking. because I'm resting my nervous system while talking, and so I can like really be calm in the moment, which I think is so beautiful. Another thing I used to do is like when I was in my survival mode all the time is I would cut people off so freaking quick, left and right. One thing you should know about survival mode is survival mode happens and it kind of comes into your body in moments of stress when your body's like, okay, we need to protect this girl. So if you're abandoned, even bullied, or called out in class or something like that, usually our body will go back to a state of rest and digest. But sometimes our body gets stuck in survival mode, especially if it's been years of hustling, or for example, if you are you can't afford to live right now and you can't afford to live, you're going to be in survival mode. But a elongated period of survival mode creates a lot of issues internally, externally, and it's even harder to get out of. So when I finally started to get out of survival mode, it was crazy. It was like this weight had been lifted off of me, but it took some work. I still to this day have to remind myself to slow down my walking, slow down my talking, slow down my eating, and that's like one of the best ways to actually relax your nervous system is just to freaking slow down. I think there's also some mindset shifts that go into this, understanding like a lot of my worth came from productivity, and that's why I felt like I had to constantly go all the time. Otherwise, I wasn't worthy. So I had the decision, and I get to decide now that I'm just worthy because I am worthy because I'm breathing. I'm worthy because I'm living. And this allows me to truly like rest and have some pleasure in my life. Now I can just sit down with a book and not even think about what I'm going to get from it. I can just enjoy my life. I can go to the park and just sit and enjoy. Everything doesn't have to be in the lens of productivity, you know? Let me look at my notes. Yeah, so it shows up in life as like overthinking, people pleasing, self-sabotage, procrastination, and burnout. Those are a few ways that it can show up. But for me, I've literally had all of them. I used to overthink about absolutely everything. Before, after social interactions, again, social anxiety was huge for me. I also was a huge people pleaser. If you're new to this channel, then you should know that I was the biggest people pleaser alive. If somebody didn't like me, it was the end of the world, and I would think about it for literally months. The funny thing is, though, I always had this perception that everybody hated me. So it was this huge cycle. It was really, really bad. And then we have self-sabotage. This can look like so many different things. This can look like setting a goal for yourself and then just completely like demolishing it. This could be not being able to set boundaries. This could look like not having self-respect. This could look like just so many ways that self-sabotage can look. If you're struggling with self-sabotage, a book I highly recommend is The Mountain Is You. I recently finished that book, and I think the biggest takeaway was about how self-sabotage comes into your life and how to kind of move through it. I said move through it with emphasis. A lot of times we cover up what we're going through, cover up emotions because they're uncomfortable to deal with. So we cover them up with like shopping, eating, drinking, smoking, partying, whatever it is. But the highlight of this book was to really tell us that your emotions are there for a reason. We don't just have things for no reason. There's a purpose to what we have, and emotion being one of them. There's a purpose for our emotions, and it is so important that you're able to actually sit in it and work through the emotion. Okay, so this is why willpower and motivation don't actually fix a effed up nervous system. You can tell yourself all day long that you're gonna go to the gym tomorrow morning, but if your nervous system is in fight or flight, it is not looking for something to excel your life. Its sole purpose is to focus on survival. So for example, let's say you have social anxiety. I feel like this is a key thing on this video, so I'm gonna run with it. Let's say you have social anxiety and your goal is to go to the gym. You might be like, oh, I really want to lose weight, I want to get that summer body, and that's in your conscious mind. But your nervous system deep down is saying, if we go to that gym, we're gonna see people, and that is scary. So it'll self-sabotage you. It'll do that by making you sick, by making you so tired. It'll put things in your life where you feel too stressed out to do anything. This is literally your nervous system sabotaging your goals just to feel safe. But we don't want to be mad at our bodies. Being mad at your body does absolutely nothing, because when you really look at it, its sole purpose is to help you survive. And that's what it's learned. It's learned to shut down. It's learned to push people away. So when that coping mechanism of self-sabotage comes back up, what we actually want to do is get into a safe space. Now for me, my safe space is my room, but I can actually cultivate that safe space whenever, because I have had so many years of practice of meditation that I can be at a park and cultivate a safe space for myself, you know? But you want to be in the present, and what being in the present is being grounded where your feet are. A very good way to do this is focusing on your breath, or one that I like to do is completely do a body scan and then focus on my breath and then listen. Listening is one of the best ways to meditate as well, because you are so in the now. You're listening to the trees, the birds, the cars passing, everything. So yeah, you can tell yourself that you want this new goal, that you want to make friends, you want this in your business, you want to make more money. But if your nervous system is stuck in a state where it's comfortable with where you are now, it doesn't want to improve. It doesn't want to get better. It wants to keep you safe. So that's why I'm going to go back to the social anxiety part. Let's just full on paint the picture. You set this goal for yourself that you're gonna go to the gym in the morning. Your conscious mind is like, hell yeah, we're gonna get fit for the summer. We're gonna look good. You set out your gym clothes and everything. The morning comes, all of a sudden you feel so sick. You're like, damn, I was really excited for the gym. Little did you know, your nervous system is screaming, oh my gosh, we can't go to the gym. People are at the gym. People are going to look at us and judge us. Oh, I better get sick or something. I better sabotage this. And then you get sick. What you do in that moment, if you can figure it out that that's what your nervous system is doing, and not only will your nervous system do this, your subconscious mind will do this as well. So what you want to do is create a safe space within yourself. When I meditate, I like to get in like a good postured position, feet on the ground, just comfy. Breathe in and breathe out. And again, when you're in survival mode, the core purpose of your nervous system is to keep you safe, of your brain is to keep you safe. So what we want to do is, in the situation where we're worried or have anxiety, we want to create the safe space now. So you can say to yourself in this scenario, it is safe for me to go to the gym. It is safe for me to be seen. It is safe for me to be perceived. It is safe. And you keep doing this until you start to feel comfortable with what you're worried about. And then you go on. Yeah, I had to do this so many times, especially with social anxiety, because when I tell you, I literally couldn't hold a conversation. I couldn't look at somebody in the eyes. I was so anxious about everything. And I think the worst part was after the fact. After a conversation, I would spend hours ruminating on how they perceived me, if they were judging me. I said this wrong, or I made like a stupid comment, whatever, and it would literally ruin my day, and I couldn't look at them or talk to them the same because of how embarrassed I was. So that's a good way to do it. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to actually regulate your nervous system. One, as I just taught you, is meditation. Right, that would be the top-down way. I talk about top-down and bottom-up a lot. I'm a psych student as well. So top-down is very much so mind-focused. So when you're meditating, there's a couple ways. You can meditate top-down, bottom-up. You can do that both. But in this specific example, what I was doing is focusing on your breath and saying, I'm safe. That is very much so top-down. A bottom-up way is like somatic work. So releasing, tapping. EFT tapping is great for your nervous system as well as rewiring your subconscious mind. There's certain things that you can do, like pulling on your ears to kind of ground yourself, or even looking around your room just to tell your body, yes, I am safe. That is also a great way to do that. You are not broken. You are not broken for procrastinating, for overthinking, for people pleasing and self-sabotaging. You're not broken. Your nervous system just needs to be regulated to get to the next step, okay? I loved making this video, and I hope you love this video as much as I loved making it. If you're ready to go deeper into your inner work, to literally see life as the most beautiful, precious thing, and see yourself as the most beautiful, precious thing, if you're ready to love yourself at the root, link in my bio. I have so many resources for you, from a free community group chat to one-on-one coaching with me, okay? Love yourself as much as I love you. Mwah.